third, the second, ethics, ethnology, ethnocentricity. Now, get this. The dictionary says ethnocentrism is a belief in the superiority of one's own ethnic group. And this is good, under xenophobia, be with you in a moment here, xenophobe is a person unduly fearful or contemptuous of strangers or foreigners, especially as reflected in his political or cultural views. Now, I know there may be a few of you out there saying, why is this idiot reading to me from the dictionary? That's because I want you to understand the nature of what it is I'm going to say to you, because I'm going to use the words xenophobia and ethnocentrism. And I'm going to use them in reference to American publishers, particularly American publishers of science fiction, who publish mostly American science fiction writers. Occasionally they publish British science fiction writers, but basically they publish Americans. And they have an absolute aversion to translating from other languages the famous and the eloquent and the excellent writers who write science fiction and many other things into English so that you can read them. They would much prefer to sell you endless Star Trek novels, endless trilogies about furry, fuzzy creatures on mythical quests for rings or swords or rectal suppositories or whatever it is those fuzzy little things are always going for. But they won't bother to translate for you the writings of some famous writers in Japan or in France or in Sweden. I mean, even Australia is as alien to them as the dark side of the moon. Now, I have a small list here, and I brought it with me so that I could read you some names, so that if you happen to see any of these people's names, you'll look them up. Because American publishers are too busy publishing trash to really take any chances. It's a market-driven genre, and they want more stories that have fantasy trilogy material, and they don't really want to go for anything dangerous. I would recommend to you, for instance, the great Swedish fantasist Sven Krister Svan. In Sweden, there's also the work of Bertil Martinsen. There are two great fantasists who work you don't even know because they don't bother to translate them into English. In Argentina, Luisa Valenzuela, although she has been translated into English, you can read her and you can find her stuff if you want. In Japan, if you haven't read the work of Kobo Abe, work like The Boxman and Inner Ice Age 4, you just haven't read. And in Australia, there are people like Terry Dowling and Lucy Sussex, Sean McMullen, Peter Carey, Russell Blackford, Greg Egan, Leanne Fromm. These are just a few of the names that you're not getting because of the ethnocentricity of American publishers. And when they award the Nobel Prize, and they give it to some writer you've never heard of from Zamboanga or New Zealand, you say, who the hell ever heard of him? Well, the rest of the world has heard of him or her, but you haven't because you're being denied all of these great works because all they want is to give you jello. They want to give you mush. You got to resist that. You got to say, I don't want any more mush. No more dopey trilogies about fuzzy-footed creatures.